So Disney and Pixar are back with their newest animated film, Elemental. Wow, is the word that comes to mind here. Folks, let's jump into the review of that right now. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today for another review, because today we're going to be reviewing the new film, Elemental, coming to theaters June 16th. So I got a chance to check this film out early. I also got to check it out in 3D. I was not expecting that. When I got to the theater, I was like, wait, glasses? 3D? Okay, let's do this here. And while I was very excited to check out this film, I had no clue I was also going to get a really quick other short in the beginning, Carl's Date. Yeah. Oh, talk about tearjerker. But we're not here to talk about Carl's Date. But I will say, if anybody, if you're a big fan of the Up universe, then yes, Carl's Date was amazing. Carl and Dog, Carl trying to get back into the dating game, and Dog is right there with him. You know what I mean? It's a tearjerker, nonetheless. Short watch before you see Elemental. But Elemental, I was there. I was super excited. I love Disney and Pixar. Some of the best animation, one of the best animation studios in all animation studios. And they always tell really good stories. But let me tell you, while I initially thought that this story wasn't strong in maybe the first third of the film, it just got better and better. And then it really started to go at the feelings. And then beyond that, some of the relatable factors of this film, some of the very deep and important messages within this film, I was just blown away. And I think there's a vast appreciation of this film coming from an adult perspective. I think kids will have a good time with it, but truly this is one for the adults. And I don't mean because of there is some adult puns and stuff kind of in there and whatnot, some adult signals and whatnot that only we're going to pick up on, but no, I think it's for everybody. It's family friendly, but I think the important messages and maybe the connectability to adults is really the target here, which I was a little surprised about. And really quickly, the synopsis talks about this film being about Ember and Wade in a city where fire, water, land, and air residents live together. Cool, we'll come back to that. But it's truly about Cinder and Bernie, who are Ember's parents, who sacrificed everything to give their daughter Ember a fair start. After losing everything, they needed to start over, and they wanted to make sure that they had a strong foundation for Ember to be able to be raised into, but also inherit, which is almost every minority story here. Parents who are immigrants who's come to this country, or folks who just lived in poverty and their parents really sacrificed everything in order for them to have a good quality of life. Right there, I'm with the feels right there easily for me. I was like, okay. And then you have Ember, who has sort of this legacy to live up to. Her dad is a legend for what he's done in Elemental City. Elemental City. Now, again, let me go back to the synopsis here. The Elemental City, as it describes, Elemental City, where fire, water, land, and air residents live together. Let me correct that real quick. Elemental City is a city where water, land, and air residents live together, and no place for fire, until Bernie comes in and really establishes a community for the fire element. Hear me out now, which means that there was a level of segregation going on where there was basically, let's call it what it is. The fire residents was the minority of this group, and there was literally no resources for them. I mean, they still had water going through their part of the city, which, hello now, water and fire don't mix. So understanding what Bernie did to establish this community for the fire residents, everything he's done for his family, and still the segregation that he has to go through. I mean, again, the connectability here. And I mean, this story absolutely has a lot of undertones as far as segregation and prejudice. All those sorts of different things are in this film, and it's not overbearing, but it's definitely there to the point where you're like, okay, well, that doesn't seem fair to the fire community. That absolutely doesn't seem fair. They're getting treated as if like they don't belong and there's literally no place for them to live and everybody treats them like, I don't want to deal with them. Tell me if you've heard that before. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, it does have a really cute love story between Ember and Wade. Wade Ripple, who is of water, the water element, the water community, who's like the privileged community, by the way. And when you think about it, yeah, that makes sense. But Wade and Ember, who comes from two different backgrounds, sort of find a comfort spot in one another, and we do see this love story come into fold as the two folks who come from two different backgrounds really find love and peace with one another. Now, Ember is voiced by Leah Lewis. Wade is voiced by Mamoudou Athie, who I have been a fan of for a while, and I gotta say, what a fantastic job, because if I had not known he was voicing this, I would never have picked up that was his voice. I truly believes he has a long career in voice acting. I mean, acting period, but voice acting, because you know, voice acting, sometimes you could do it in the comfort of your home, so that's like extra work for folks. But like, he was fantastic, almost unrecognizable for his voice acting work. But Leah was fantastic as well. Also talking about Bernie, who's played voiced by Ronnie del Carmen, who's fantastic as well too, and Shila, who voices Cinder, who Sheila's is fantastic in everything she does as well too. And that's just four folks of like a bunch of folks that's involved with this. But what a really good and diverse voice acting crew. I was very pleased by that. The animation, it's Pixar, of course it's good, but let me talk about the animation really fast. I thought the 3D was okay. I don't think like the 3D enhanced much, but it was times where you recognize it's like, oh, that's cool. But I really think what was really cool is that there was two style of animations, and I really don't know how to really relate them, but like there's definitely two different styles of animation. One that absolutely looks like the traditional cartoon Pixar animation, and then there was this other animation that was like, look more practical, almost real, to the point that you thought like it was like a real environment, and they like CGI animation into it, but it was all animation. But I think like the mixture of the two animation was really well done. And I also want to say that I thought that the animation for the characters was really good, but they really did their thing with Ember, especially with the fashion. Ember was a fashionista in this. Like, I don't know who needed to add their 2 cents into this and make sure that Ember looks like looking bomb, looking fire, should I say? But they definitely did. But you know, even with all of this too, while I focused on 3 different parts of the film, Ember also has her own story, where Ember is somebody who has to inherit the family business and is destined to run it. But she wants to do that, she's also dealing with anger issues, you know, elements not mixing, so that's its own little conflict. And then, you know, do she go with the family legacy, or do she actually carve out her own path? And that conflict, you know. And then she meets Wade, who becomes sort of this person that she likes, but he comes from a different world. So do they mix? Maybe, maybe not. They also have like a cool like Shuri and Namor interaction from Wakanda Forever. Like, they had one of those moments in that. It's like when you remember when Namor took Shuri down to his place, like kind of like that. They had one of those moments, which is really interesting. I'll just go back to Cinder real quick, who's like this love expert who could sniff love, but also kind of the anchor of the family, like the bridge between Bernie and Ember. Bernie has high expectations for his daughter. Ember loves his father and wants to make sure that she can pass the legacy. Bernie also has his own story in terms of like him leaving home and starting over and what he had to sacrifice for that. So there's a bunch of different things for that. But like, again, going back to Ember, it is truly about her either, you know, taking over the family legacy or following her own dreams and desires. You know what I mean? She has to figure out what she wants here. But listen, the second half of the film really picks up, especially when like the love element and everything really gets into place. That's when the film really picks up. Like, that's when the film, I think, becomes great with the storytelling, the different things that are happening. I think it just really, really finds its groove by the second half of the film. And there's tons of jokes, but there's a lot of puns, really good puns. I love puns, and sometimes too much is not good, but there's a lot of puns and they all work, and they're all like element puns. You know what I mean? You know, like, I don't even know an example, but like you could just imagine like a joke from somebody who's fire who would say something to like somebody who's like somebody wants to to somebody that's fire. It's like, oh, you're smoking. Like, you get it? You know what I mean? They did a lot of those type of things, which I thought was really, really cool. So like, while this was not one of my favorite Disney Pixar animated films, this one I truly feel is one that has so much rewatchability just because of the important messages, and just solid film overall. It doesn't lack anything. I just think it had like a slow start and then really got into groove to the point that I really truly want to see a sequel for this film, or short. I want to see more from the Elemental universe because I think they really laid out a good foundation of good and amazing things to come. And this is a great story. And again, with all the old undertones here, it's a little something for everybody, but I really think the adults are going to take a lot from this. And I think adults are going to relate for the ones who have either sacrificed for their kids or can recognize what their parents has done for them. It's all in this film, folks. But check out Elemental in theaters June 16th, folks. Jump in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about it. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.